Hi, this is Morley, and this is the M-Wire. Christina Caramo was actually part of the delegation from Michigan that went down to Maricopa to observe the audit in progress. And folks, believe me, after this interview, any residents of Michigan, Tracy O'Leary, and others, you need to contact her. She is your go-to. You need to let the government in Michigan know in no uncertain terms, you work for us, we don't work for you, and we want an audit. Christina Caramo for Michigan, SOS. We need our legislatures to initiate the audit, not legislators targeting citizens who question results. Once again, Jordan Conradson from the Gateway Pundit interviewed her via Zoom. Without further ado, let's just dive right on into it. What have you been doing since you got back from Arizona? Well, once we presented our legislatures with 7,000 to 10,000 affidavits demanding an audit, as we, per our state constitution, have a right to, I personally delivered affidavits to Jocelyn Benson, who's our current Secretary of State, affidavits to her office. And what I found really interesting, is when I went to go present the affidavit office, they had signs on the door saying you had to have photo ID to enter. Wow. That's really curious because according to the left, expecting photo ID to V is racist. But then when you know that there is the same set of doors, it's right on the front door. And then when you go through the second set of doors by the elevator, they have a sign saying that visitor ID enforcement is in effect 100%. So if it's racist to expect people to have IDs to V, shouldn't we logically conclude that our Secretary of State must be racist by affecting people to have photo ID to enter? It's clear that they have an agenda to undermine the people and subvert our Vs with illegal activities, either nullifying our Vs with illegal Vs or manipulating this V tallies. There's no reason to, unless you want to see, to be against photo ID. So those 7,500 affidavits that you've got, have you been pursuing that in court? Are you planning on taking those to court? We need our legislators to initiate the audit. We don't have to take them to court. I mean, that may be an option down the road, but we don't know. But at the moment, there are 2 legal statutes, which points to the complete power of our legislative to have conduct and audit because they can subpoena for books, records, for any department in our state government. Senator McBroom, who is a Republican, and of course other Republicans, all agreed with him because they have signed an approval of this report, and these individuals who are questioning or stating that there was F in the E should be criminally investigated. He's asking our Attorney General to consider criminal investigations into the people claiming that there was F in the E. That is scary. That's what communist countries do. Good point there. And these Republican legislators, and this is why the many states Republican Party are losing credibility with activists and Vers when we think we're electing conservatives. And these people claim to be constitutionalists, but they're anything but. I mean to think that you want to violate my First Amendment rights, number 1, my freedom of speech, and also redress the grievances to the government. I mean, that is massive. That I have a right to lead my state government, know that I have issues, and how long they're acting, I should be afraid to be that I may be criminally investigated. This is way beyond what many people, including myself, thought we were up against. So how's it looking in Michigan? What's the general idea of the 2020E? Citizens can't even get to that point yet, I believe, because they're still upset about the failure of our legislators to want to prove that our e-system is secure. It's unfortunate that our legislators, many of them, want to make this about the presidential E. That's part of it, but that's not why we're fighting. We're fighting because we have made aware that our e-systems are highly unsecure, and after the report came out in the court with a criminal investigation that really caused a pivot. Because at one point we felt as though our Republican legislators were not taking us seriously, or some people were maybe being intimidated or threatened. But with the cause of our legislators calling for us to be investigated, now we feel like, okay, wait a minute, There's an extra layer to this, and we don't exactly know clearly about, and maybe there's some C going on at their end because there's a complete fixation on not doing an audit. They did not conduct any investigation into whether or not our system is secure. They just took a few citizens' complaints and investigated that, interviewed D, and they took the word of partisans like Chris Thomas in the city of Detroit and just took their word for it. And then on top of it all, when there were issues, they just assumed that it was a mistake or clerical error. When you're dealing with something as critical to the very survival of our republic as ease, you don't have time to assume that things are a mistake or that you need to know whether it's a mistake or purposeful in order to remedy it. Then they mentioned in the report that we need to make sure when bees go to senior centers or nursing homes that they're not pre-filled. Wait a minute, you've just claimed there wasn't massive F in the E, but then you discussed the need to rectify a problem of senior centers and nursing homes receiving bees that are pre-filled? How many of these bees were like this? I mean, they wouldn't put it in the report unless there was a problem. So how bad is this, and who's pre-filling them out? Who gave them the authority to do so? This is why we need a forensic audit to answer these questions. This is why we're calling for a forensic audit, and instead they want to investigate us. Yes, that is absolutely absurd. They're targeting you guys for asking questions. You guys need new leaders in Michigan. Can you update us on your campaign? We are really excited with our campaign. You know, we're just fighting hard. We're just really pushing hard to encourage citizens to stand the fight. I'm really excited on the national slate that I'm a part of the Conservatives for E-Integrity PAC myself. It's a group of us running for Secretary of State in battleground states, which we are retargeted by the left. Jim Merchant from Nevada, Mark Fincham from Arizona, Rachel Ham from California, and Jody Heiss from Georgia are all part of it. We're all part of the slate where we're determined to have constitutionalists to be the secretaries of state in these battleground states, and it's not so we can make sure Republicans win. The goal is not to make sure that Republicans win. The goal is to protect every citizen's V, irrespective of political affiliation. Our focus, even as a campaign right now, is to get the audit of the 2020 E because we cannot have effective remedy to our E systems without getting to the bottom of the night, being able to identify all of the problems. There were so many problems, oftentimes people looking for the magic bullet. Please check out the website ChristinaForSOS.com to support the campaign financially, as you know that that's the lifeblood of a campaign. Raising money so you know we can really appreciate people's support, volunteers who live in the state, but this is the issue of national survival. What can Michiganders do to get involved in the audit process to make sure that it goes through? Keep pressing, keep pressuring your legislators, keep pressuring them. What we do by pressuring them, show up to their coffee hour, show up to the events, peacefully make your voice heard. The next thing we will always emphasize, peaceful. I know people are frustrated. I'm so angry. Okay, I'm really, really angry. But what we can't do is get out of control. We cannot get out of control. We need to peacefully make our voices heard, show up to their coffee hours, and peacefully apply pressure by asking tough questions. If you continue to do that, I'm confident we'll be able to move the needle because I think many of these people are very selfish, that they only care about their next job in politics, and they know that if they don't honor the will of the Veers, we're not going to forget, and they can forget about holding public office again. And that's what we need to make them understand. I mean, this is about this. I'm not interested in playing politics. I'm not. I'm interested in my nation surviving, so we have peacefully made our voices heard, peacefully apply pressure by showing up to their events and asking them tough questions. That's what I would encourage you to do, and also become a poll challenger. Become a poll challenger, become a poll worker, do one of these things, or a poll watcher that helps you oversee the process. And one of the ways I was able to identify a lot of these issues when I was served as a poll challenger, so I encourage you to do that as well. So there you have it, people of Michigan. This is your go-to contact in the state. You need to contact her. You need to get in touch with her people. You need to support her because she's on your side, okay? Band together. Just all I want you to do is not do nothing, okay? Because there's no do-over. When this is all over, you need to ask yourself, did I do everything that I possibly could to save the Republic? Well, I just wanted to give you this quick interview, folks. Please remember to like, to comment, to share, and to subscribe, of course, to this channel as well as my backup channel in the description box. Thank you, and God bless.